into the shift in perspective. And we are here on another lovely Saturday, going live, doing what we do best because we only getting better from here. Now, today, our topic is going to be the inevitability of our success. Now, the inevitability of our success is guaranteed because the only thing that we do on a regular, everyday basis is to make that happen, right? So it's pretty awesome how you can set yourself up for overall success just based off of what you want to do, baby. And to go into this topic a little bit, the inevitability of our success does not mean it is any kind of wishful thinking, because wishful thinking is good to get you started. But at the end of the day, you have to always apply your best knowledge to every situation. And when it comes down to it, you don't always have to fill your life with things. Just like a sculptor, they don't always just slump clay onto it. They chip away at some of the things that don't quite make it just right. So then they just chip away at it until it becomes this magnificent piece. The same with any gardener when they cut weeds. They're not adding more grass to it. They're not adding more water to it. They're just pulling the weeds that are in the way of what's in the way to let the rest of the plant grow properly. So if we do these things on a regular basis, then, and by these things, I mean, if we continuously go for what we're going for by not having to do more, but to do a little bit less, then you can lead a more simplistic route for you to get to exactly where you want to go. Now, easier said than done, right? No. Because all you have to do is just apply yourself on a regular basis to where that those things that you're cutting out of your life, those weeds that you're pulling so that way you can grow, are just things that you're able to do regularly that's going to further advance what you want. Now, when you have these things in your way, right, it's not the best to just try to ignore them or to let them be just something that's in the way and you just have to deal with. No, these things come where you're able to know that, all right, cool, this is in my way. I understand that it can uphold something that I am pushing myself to get to, and I won't let it stop me. So I'm going to pull these things out of my way so that way I can get to where I'm going. Now, yes, the world is filled with many distractions, and with the advance in technology, it's easy for you to just get caught in a doom scroll. But the thing is, to avoid unnecessary scenarios that don't play a part in your life, all you have to do is just cut out the little things. And that's the point, because it's not always about adding more to your life. It's about deleting some things that are in the way. It's just like, what's another great example? It's just like plants, right? You don't always have to just water it, and you don't always have to put it in the right sunlight. Sometimes you just have to clip what's in the way. Sometimes you just have to realign the soil so that way you're able to allow it to grow to its full potential. Now, the thing about that is that a lot of things can get in the way of your full potential, right? You know, circumstances, you got people, you got scenarios that just get in the way, and they make you feel that you can't accomplish nothing because it's in the way. But when you think about a stream, right? Think about a stream. The water doesn't force itself to get through the rock. It flows around where it's supposed to go. Because once you allow yourself to flow in the direction that you need, then it can allow you to think clear. Does it stay that smooth forever? Of course not. But through those things, you allow yourself to continue to move progressively without being stopped. And a lot of what people, I feel, and it's just what I say, I mean, who am I? But a lot of people feel that with something in their way, they can't do nothing more because this thing is in the way. And that's not true. Because if you allow yourself to think about ways that you can do your best without having to stress about this thing in your way, then it only makes you stronger in your own discipline and in everything that you want to accomplish. So when it comes down to it, all you have to do is just learn the things that are in the way. If, say, you have a busy schedule, right? Your schedule's super busy and you just feel like you don't have time for nothing. There are little moments in the day where, even if it's just a sentence, say you want to write a book and you don't have time to write a book because you work full time. Well, you don't have to write the book at one moment. All you have to do is just write certain topics. You have to write certain lines that you feel can overall help you accomplish what you want. And it just comes down to the fact of making sure that you allow yourself to grow in that perspective. Because if you don't allow yourself to focus on what you're going for, then the thing that's in your way is going to just be in your way. Like, you're not going to ever be able to see past it because you just feel that's in your way. But if you just take the time to just like look at it just a little bit to realize like, oh, it's not that much. It's not that much more, because it's all perspective, right? And that's the point of this channel, right? It's the point of perspective, the shift in perspective, baby, because it only seems hard because there's nothing else being done. But then that's why it's best to come up with solutions instead of the excuses. You come up with ways that make it work versus you wanting to say, oh, it just doesn't work. Let me bring up a good example. You know how like there's all these like supplements and like these workout routines and all of these other channels that allow you to like want to focus and motivate you and all of these things? The reason why they work for some and don't work for others is because of not because of the product, it's because of the mindset of the person using it. So if you hear something that you don't really believe in, then your perspective isn't going to allow you to do it with faith, even if you're doing it. It's just like a workout, right? If you're doing a workout, right, and you want to build more muscle in your arms, and yet the only thing you do is sit-ups, then you're not going to believe that this workout is helping you. In reality, it's not, because you're not doing the things that you need to do for what you wanted to do. Now, if you reverse that same kind of setup, you want to build your arms, but then you're doing planks, then that's a different story. Because now you're not only just building your arms, you're building everything. And you build your shoulders, you build your biceps, you build your abs, and your chest. And that allows you to go further than just the perspective of you only wanting to build your arms. And it can get a little tricky sometimes, right? It can be a little tricky. I mean, it's life, things happen. But as long as you keep that focus on the fact that, all right, this has worked for people because they said that it worked for them in this way. But everything isn't going to work the same way it works for the other person. That's why we have different variations of everything. I was just in the store today and I was buying some tissue and I see all of these brands of tissue. Now, mind you, I'm an Angel Soft kind of guy. You know, I always just like, they always just somehow have like a bigger set package, you know, for the price that they're at. It's a really cool price. But of course, there's Charmin, there's Scott, like, you know, there's all different other brands of tissue that can probably still have the same price range, probably still have the same bundled amount in it. It's just that due to my perspective of how Angel Soft has always been, it works better for me. I once bought this 48 pack of Angel Soft tissue that lasted a literal year. I'm talking about, I moved into this apartment and I bought this 48 pack of tissue and it lasted the entire lease I was there. And I remember that I was down to like the last like 3 rows and I was like, wait a minute, I haven't bought tissue in a year. Now, anybody else who, like, let's say like a girl, probably wouldn't have that same instinct because, you know, women use more tissue than a man would. But due to the perspective of what I believe, of course it works for me because I was the one that benefited from it and I was the one that also got more out of it than what the next person would. based off of what we do in our everyday lives. And so many people get caught up in the fact that, oh, well, they said that it worked for them, so it should work for me. Not with that attitude, because that won't help you grow. Like, you have to be able to know that when you do something, it's not always going to work unless you allow it to work. The same thing with the supplements and whatnot. Like, if you're not a fan of like certain fruits and certain vegetables, then you won't feel that it's working for your body as someone who would consume it on a regular basis. So you just have to really understand what works best for you and then what doesn't work. So that way you're able to find out the best conclusions on what you want to do. Now, to take it all the way back to the inevitability of the success, if you allow yourself to focus on what you can do versus what needs to be done, then the inevitability of you overcoming anything is so possible because you allow yourself to believe that it's possible. If you don't truly believe that something can be done, then even if you attempt to do it, you won't get it done. That's just plain and simple. So you have to go in knowing that, all right, cool, I'm ready to do what needs to be done. And if I don't get it, then I understand why I can't get it. So that way I can train to get it. I always say this example. It's just like a weight, right? You walk up to a random weight. You don't know how much it weighs. You don't know how much it weighs. You never lifted it before. So you walk up to this weight thinking, oh man, I'm not going to be able to do this. Your body is automatically going to not be able to do it just because your thinking was already stopping you from the start. If you go into the same scenario knowing like, all right, cool, you know what? Let me just get it. Let me see. And then you attempt to get it and then you still don't get it. It doesn't deter you from the fact that you want to do it still. It just allows you to redirect another sense of thought that, all right, maybe I need to start with a lighter weight. Maybe I need to be able to build to this moment. So the inevitability of you being able to lift that weight is guaranteed, not because of the fact that you're just strong or you just been training a lot. It's because of the fact that you've allowed your perspective to know that I am going to get it because I have put in the effort, work, and training necessary to get it. A lot of what people are doing is it's wishful thinking, right? A lot of people, and you'll notice it, a lot of people are going around wishfully thinking like, oh, I hope, oh, I agree. This is one of my sayings, right? I know I work in the restaurant industry and everybody asks, oh, how you doing? Hey, how's it going? They're like, oh, I'm doing well. How are you? And I'm like, another day feeling great. Only gets better from here. And they always respond to me with, man, that's such a great way to look at it. Because at the end of the day, I'm aware that life can be tricky. Life can be inconvenient. But even though I'm aware of that, doesn't mean that I'm not excited about what I can do. I'm not going to let the fact that, the possibility of death stops me from living. Because at the end of the day, they go hand in hand. So you have to know that if you look for the best outcome in things, then you can only grow. I made a little short a little while ago explaining the fact that a negative thought automatically cuts what can be done. The moment you go, nope, can't do it. It can't happen. You're not going to come up with any solutions. Your brain's not going to be creative enough. You're not going to have the imagination to even think about what it looks like to even accomplish it. And you're just going to stop. However, if you allow yourself to think like, oh man, you know what? Even though that's that thing, I'm not going to allow it to stop me because there has to be a way. And I got an uncle of mine who told me when I was younger, he was like, if you get lost, go right. Keep going right. And if you can't go right no more, go left. And yeah, it's so stupid. It's just so stupid. But then there was actually one day where I was driving and I was in the middle of this, I was in the middle of this neighborhood and I was going right. and I couldn't go right no more. And I went left, and then I left out of the neighborhood. And I was like, oh, this is what he meant. Because think about if I was to be like, oh, I can't get out. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, it's not possible for me to get out of here. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit there and then not think of anything else to do. I mean, of course, nowadays in this world, we have our GPSs and everything like that. But, this is back then. But outside of that, it allows you to know that if you just look for the better outcome. Now, look, is it always going to be there? No. But if you always keep the perspective that there is something there, then you can always do something with it. You just have to be willing to have that open perspective to know that you can. Look, it's tricky. And it won't always go the way that you want it to go. But through that, you can still direct it in the way that you would prefer it to go. If you allow yourself, right, to just sit back for a moment and just brainstorm all the possible ways that something can get done, something will click. Will it be the thing that solves the problem? Probably not. Will it be a thought process that can help the thought process to solve the problem? Most definitely. Because that's how creativity works. Creativity works in the spare of the moments, right? It doesn't work this way, so I did it this way. It didn't really work that way, but it led me to believe that it's still possible to solve. Look, let's say it like this. Give yourself the leeway, right? Give yourself the leeway to even believe, because it starts with the thought process. Nothing that is anything today is just something that just came out of nowhere. No, it's something that someone had to think about. It's something that someone put together. It's something that someone was really content on making sure that they got. The Wright brothers are awesome. I think about this all the time because back then, people were like, flying? What? Are you insane? We have all of this mode of transportation. We got railroads. We got these horses. We got all of these different ways to do something. And you want to fly? Why? It's a genius idea because they've seen the innovation. They were like, man, we can get things by horse. We can get things by train. Why not by something that can travel through the sky without it stopping for nothing? And then the first aircraft takes off and it blows the world's mind because it's something that not only no one's ever seen before, but it's something that no one's ever even thought of. So if you allow yourself to open the thought process of what the possibilities can be, then you will never be beaten. You can never stop, because then through those efforts, through those intentions, you always find some way to make something work. That's why it's always best to have a better perspective and a better attitude about things. I said it like this too in the short, that even shit, right? You got this big pile of shit that just you feel you can do nothing with. But guess what? That same shit can build harvests. That same harvest can make you money. That same money can change your life. So if you allow yourself to take the simplest thing as shit and then to create flowers, then you can maybe sell those flowers and do more. Do you want to become a florist? Probably not. Will it help you get to where you're going? Probably so. So it's all about just the simple setup of what you design it to be. If you allow your perspective to grow, if you allow your attitude to stay in a right mindset versus a negative mindset, then you will always create more pathways. And look, the thing about you wanting to solve something, right? It's not always, I want to solve this problem, so this equation is going to help me solve it. That equation might solve another problem. That problem ends up leading you right into what you needed to know about the same situation you're already in. And now you've just created an equation that not only solved one problem, but created another solution for other problems. Now you got a 2-for-1 product off of one thought process. And people won't allow this, right? People don't allow themselves to feel that they can do more with what they're going for, right? They just think like, oh, it doesn't work. And then they're done. That's it. With that attitude, that's how it goes. That's how it is. Like, it's very interesting to just see these things. And you just have to know that it takes just those little bit of things. It takes those simple setups of you knowing that, all right, this isn't working for me right now, but maybe there's some way that it can work. Maybe there's something that I wasn't thinking about. Maybe there's a different angle. Maybe there's a different setup that I wasn't considering that can allow me to solve this issue. It's amazing. It is truly amazing. So let's lead this into the inevitability of the success. Because if you won't stop, then nothing will stop you. If you allow yourself to keep going, then you will always keep that motion. What is Newton's first law of energy? Is that anything in motion will stay in motion unless, only unless, it's interrupted by an external force. So that means if you're on the move, if you're in motion, and you won't allow that thing, that person, that inconvenience, that schedule to stop you from doing what you're doing, then guess what happens? You won't stop. That's the whole perspective of it, because you have to know that deep within your core that it will work, that it will go through. Not because you're just wishing that it would, because of the strength, because of the knowledge, because of the power you put behind it that allows you to grow more with it. Everything that you put into motion can stay in motion unless you allow that external force, that external person, that external scenario to stop it. That's just how it is. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people see a wall and go, damn, I can't get over that wall. I'll never get over that wall. And then guess what they do? They sit on that same side of the wall forever. If you allow yourself to know that, I don't have any kind of grappling, I don't have any kind of rock climbing abilities, I don't have any tools or harnesses, I don't have any equipment that can bulldoze the wall over, but maybe, but just maybe, if I just chip away at this brick, maybe it can fall. Maybe it can create some kind of weakness in the wall that would allow me to just be able to kick it over, to push through it. But that only comes after you've already made the decision to keep going. It doesn't happen the other way around. Like, what is it? Confidence isn't, you're not confident first, right? You accomplish something to build that confidence. That's why if you allow yourself to be a little uncomfortable a few times, it's not even 1,000 times, it's not even a bunch of times. If you allow yourself to just be uncomfortable a few times to where that you ignore what the outside perspective thinks of it, and you just keep pushing forward and you're like, still a little uncomfortable, then you eventually get that weight up. You eventually push yourself to do more than what you were doing the day before. And that's all it is. That's what the Kaizen Japanese technique is about, baby. Look, yoku nare baka de kore ga watashi desu tomodachi. You have to be able to know that you have abilities unlike no other. The Kaizen technique simply states that you just get 1% better every day. Look, you do 10 push-ups one day, you do 11 push-ups the next day. You do 11 push-ups that day, you do 12 push-ups the next day. You do 12 push-ups that third day, You do 15 push-ups that fourth day. Then guess what? You're doing 20 push-ups easy. And then you're doing 50. Then you're doing 100. And that's only due to the simple fact of everything building. You have to let it grow. You know, if you've seen any of the lives before, if you've seen any of the lives last year, you know we love that compound interest. So if you allow that knowledge to compound over time, it's going to create more. But guess what happens if you don't allow it to compound? Then nothing grows from it at all. They say that if you plant a seed and you keep digging it up to be like, is it growing yet? Then it'll never grow. But if you plant that seed, you give it the care that it needs, you give it the attention that's necessary, then it will grow into something because you're allowing it to do what it does naturally, along with doing what you can do best for it, which brings those things together to create the overall beautiful plant that grows from what you planted. That's just all you do. And yes, when I say the inconveniences, when I say the distractions, we do it. Look, right. What do you want to go for? What do you want to go for in life that you feel you're not able to do because you keep digging back up the seed? Like, if you just do the opposite, then you can grow more from it. Now, I had a good buddy of mine who asked me, what do you do if you tell yourself that, like, I can't do it, I'm a piece of crap, like, I just never come? The first thing I told him is that you say the opposite. You do all of the other things that allow you to still think about yourself in a different manner, because it starts with thought. If you don't allow yourself to think about how it can be done, then you will never come up with a solution on how it can get done. Does that make any sense? Does that make some sense? I don't know. Sounds too simple, right? Because some of the most creative things that has happened has come from the simplistic thought of just wanting to be more. You just create your own setup of how you can get it done. And if you allow that setup to take form and then still improve on that setup, then the only thing that can come from it is greatness, the success of it. You have to allow yourself to know that, all right, I got to do 10 push-ups to get to 15 push-ups. I got to do 15 push-ups to get to 20. But how do I start with the 10 push-ups? You start with knee push-ups. You start doing the push-ups from your knees. And then you start to hold the plank of the push-up. Then you allow yourself to feel every muscle that needs. Then you start to realize, like, oh man, this side of my shoulders, like, a little weaker than this side. I write more with my right hand, so I do more with this, but my left side feels a little off. So then you start to do what? You start to train the left side a little bit more. Now you even out. Then you really realize, like, all right, cool, that works out, which creates more form that you can use to continue to push yourself further to do more push-ups. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's just the everyday. This is why I say, baby, EDS, baby, everyday success. Because if you allow your everyday attitude to be, I got this, I do this, I'm about it, then guess what your attitude says? All right, let's do it. You get tested with those same concepts of you knowing that, all right, I can get stronger. How can I get stronger? Because I can do more push-ups today. The inevitability of me doing 20 push-ups by the end of the week is guaranteed, because guess what? The last 6 days, all I've been doing is pushing to get to them 20 push-ups. And I'm telling you, you got this. This is all only mindset. This is why the perspective is so important. Perspective does not mean you change your values, you change your opinion, you change who you are to fit the perspective. No, the perspective only helps you grow with your values and your opinion. Instead of going, nah, that's not right, analyze why you disagree with it. Come to different conclusions on why it doesn't make sense. Then be able to express them in a manner where it can't be misunderstood, to where that you eventually get your message through. You don't have to agree with everything for your perspective to change. All you have to do is just be willing to understand that you see a 6, I see a 9, but that's just due to our perspectives. If you come over here, if I go over there, then maybe I can see what you're talking about. Maybe you can see what I'm talking about. But you have to be open and willing to get to that point. And that starts with thought. The moment you sit over here and you have the thought of going, nope, that's not right, that's not it, that can't be, then you won't grow. You won't go anywhere. And you see a lot of this, right? Me, the homeless is a really big thing for me. Like, and I say this in the way that not just like the homeless, the ones that are sleeping on the bridges and whatnot. I'm talking about the panhandlers, right? The panhandlers who are standing there with the sign, hungry, anything, please help. Anything helps. And I'm over here just thinking, like, if you're that hungry, the last thing you would be doing is just standing somewhere waiting for food. I mean, shit, I'll go steal an apple before I sit here and starve. Like, and it's not better, but it's more motion than just me standing in this one spot doing nothing. So you have to understand. And I say that you know, look, I don't tell you what you have to do. I don't tell you what you need to do. I don't know what you should do. I'm saying that if you want to be successful, you have to understand that everything isn't always set to your perspective. You have to leave that perspective open so that way you're able to analyze it. And then that way, once you break down the analyzation, you understand that, oh, it just doesn't work for me because it's just not something that I'm comfortable with doing. It's not something that I'm comfortable with paying attention to on a regular basis. So I won't feed into that energy, but I do appreciate being able to understand where people are coming from. And in this world, there's just a lot of misunderstanding. It's just a lot of people who aren't just willing to pay attention to the fact of what can be done in another sense. It's everybody's just so one-sided. Everybody's just so one-sided. And you know what the funny thing about, thing about people being so one-sided is that they're not even being one-sided from their own opinion. They're not even being one-sided from the setup of what they believe in. They're being one-sided based off of what somebody else said. It's not even their own opinion. And they're just so one-sided about something that's not even theirs. And that is just so interesting to me, because to stand so strongly on a point that you don't even think about regularly is just so funny to me. Because how can you back something up with what you think and what you believe if you're not even studying the thing that you're trying to back up? You know, people do this. You know, people will tell you something just because they heard it on the news, but then not go deeper into those statistics to realize that it's only just due to one area, one scenario, one moment. Look, I don't sit here and claim that you just gotta be open to where you're gonna be better. No, I sit here and claim that the fact that if you allow yourself to break down the information you've heard, then you can learn more from it. Through learning more from that information allows your perspective to grow. When your perspective grows, then your energy flows in a different way. It doesn't shut itself off. It allows you to create more of that same perspective. And you gotta be willing. You can't do nothing if you're not willing. If you're not willing to get stronger, then those push-ups that you do once a week ain't gonna help. You gotta go at it every day. You gotta let it be known that this is what you want and this is what you're gonna do, and nothing will stop you from doing it. Look, we just got into 2026, and It's already February, and I don't know for sure because I just haven't done the research, but I'm pretty sure a few people have already slipped on their New Year's resolution. I'm pretty sure that some people said that they was gonna do something that they're not doing no more. And that's not because of the fact that they just don't want to do it. They're just super busy. No, no, no. Because they didn't allow their perspective to know that you didn't really have to wait till the new year to start doing it. You just needed to be consistent in it in a regular setup to where that it allows you to keep that motion even going. Look, you wake up every day with new opportunity and new chances. I like to always talk about this one thing that Kobe Bryant said. Like, I'm not a big sports guy. Like, I don't watch a lot of sports and whatnot. But I was watching this Kobe Bryant interview, and I never really heard him in in like a kind of conversation and whatnot. But one of his philosophies was the fact that failure is kind of irrelevant. It's kind of irrelevant because if you win that game, then guess what? You got to wake up tomorrow and win another game. If you lose that game, you got to wake up tomorrow and play that same game again. So if you fail, you still have to go and you still have to put in some work. If you win, you still have to go in and you still got to put in some work. It doesn't stop just because you won. It doesn't stop because you lost. It only stops when you decide to stop. When you're like, all right, I'm done. That's when it's over. But if you're always in the perspective of like, nope, it ain't over. It ain't done. I'm not finished. I can't stop. I won't quit. Then guess what? You're going to keep pushing. You're going to keep persevering. And that's what I say, because it's not even about talent. It's not about strength. It's not about intelligence. It's about consistency. How long will you continue? It's like one of those marathons. Like, it's not about in what time you finish, although you want that time to be a good one, but it's not about in what time you finish. It's about you finishing. It's about you not letting yourself stop halfway. It's about not letting yourself stop a quarter of the way there. It's not about you sitting over here realizing like you can't do it at all. It's about you just pushing yourself to do it simply because you want to accomplish it. And a lot of what gets people a little mixed up is their focus on the outcome versus what they're becoming. So if somebody wants to be able to do 20 straight push-ups, they're more focused on the fact of will they do the 20 push-ups versus getting to 12 push-ups and realizing that they can do 12 push-ups. Like, you have to be able to know that if you want to do it, you have to continuously put the effort into it. You have to know that you just gotta let it work. You gotta let it flow. You gotta let it grow, because as it goes, it grows. My favorite philosopher, Jim Rohn, he says it best. In 5 years, you will be somebody. Who that person is entirely up to you. If the last 5 years hasn't went your way, then this year you change something that you've been doing. If it doesn't work, you change it, because you're not a tree. You can move. You can do more. Most feel they can't do more because they've never done more. But that's where the confidence comes in. You have to be able to do it. You have to be uncomfortable. You have to know that, oh, wait, something just came from this. Let me do it again. You have to get excited about it. You got to get hype about it. Because if you don't have any of this energy, then guess what? As motivated, as inspired as you are, you're going to stop the second month the year starts. That's just how it goes, because you were already doing it for what you want out of it versus doing it what you become from it. If you allow yourself to become someone who gets stronger by doing one more push-up than you did the day before, then you become stronger through that. But if you sit over in there and think, oh man, I can't do 20 push-ups, forget it, then you will never get there. And a lot of people just quit. It's not even, look, and some of the most intelligent people, some of the most strongest people just quit because it has nothing to do with the strength, the intelligence. It just has to do with the consistency of it. There's this story of a homeless man, and he would always be asking for change. He would always be asking for money from people. And he walks past this businessman one day and he asks him for change. And the businessman looks at him and he goes, "You just always ask for stuff and never give anything?" It made the homeless man think. So one day, the homeless man goes and he picks flowers. And then he starts to sell those flowers to people. And over the course of a few years, he opens up his own business as a florist. And he meets the same businessman that he met. And he says, "Hey," the businessman looks at him and recognizes him. He's like, "You're that homeless guy that was asking for change." And he was like, "Yes, I am. And because of what you said to me that day, allow me to grow more from that moment." So I started selling flowers. And then instead of me asking people for stuff, I started giving something. The overall point of that story is, if you allow yourself to just think about the possibilities of what you can do to get what you want, then you will get there. The inevitability of your success is guaranteed, not because of wishful thinking, not because you get handouts, not because you get help, because you do the work every day to make sure that it gets done. Not leaving it to chance, not leaving it to luck. The most successful people aren't people who were lucky. They were people who worked. They were people who put in the effort. They were people who decided that they wouldn't quit. They wouldn't stop. So you have to allow yourself. You have to, if you want to be successful. I'm just saying that if you want to be. But if you want to do more, you have to be willing to do more. A lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, are out here asking for change and wishing that it would happen without even bothering to put in a perspective of how it can get done. A lot of people are walking past that weight continuously going, I can't get it. I'll never get it. But can someone help me lift this? How are you supposed to do for yourself if you won't even apply yourself? And then how is anybody supposed to back you if you're not even putting in it yourself? To be honest, I don't like panhandlers, especially if they got 2 working legs and 2 working arms. There's a temp agency right down the street. You better go get you a job application. They say anything helps. I'm about to drop off job applications to them. And you say anything helps, right? Here you go. Fill your name out and everything else, and then go ahead and get to work. Because I guarantee you, if you decide to put in a little bit of work for yourself, then you build confidence. Then that confidence leads you to do more. Then you doing more allows your perspective to open up how much you can do. And then the inevitability of your success is guaranteed. But a lot of people don't even have the thought process to get there. How are you supposed to do anything if you're not even thinking about how you can do anything? You have to be willing. It's not a choice. It's a decision. It's a decision to know that I won't stop, I won't be defeated, and I will not quit. And my acronym for fail is faster action in learning. You don't fail at anything. You have a faster action in learning. You have a faster result of knowing that, oh, didn't work that way. Let me do this. Didn't work that way. Let me do this. And you keep at it until it's done, or you yourself come to the conclusion that, all right, I'm not getting this right now. There's something else in it. I can say for myself, I don't quit easy. I do not quit easy. Like, if I can't lift that weight, I'm going to be like, there's another way. There's still a way I can do it. And then I'm going to be like, okay, I'm just not strong enough yet to lift this weight. So let me just go down a few and see if I can get this one. Okay, I can get this one. And then through this one, you're like, wait a minute. This is simple because this form is working for me. Okay, this is a nice form. Okay, wait a minute. Let me attempt to apply this same form to this weight that I couldn't lift yesterday and see if I can get it. And then through that, you lift it with that same form and it nudges. It just nudges a bit. You don't get it all the way up, but it nudges a little bit to where you moved it more than the days before. And you're like, your perspective opens because you've allowed it to. Now you feel unstoppable, even though you haven't even got it yet, because now you know in your own soul that you won't stop until you lift it. Now you can go back and then you can continue to work on that form at higher reps, at higher weights, until you get to that weight that you can't lift. And then next thing you know, a year passes, 2 years passes, however long it takes passes. Then you go back up to that weight and you lift it right up. Not because you wished it, because you worked it, baby, because you allowed it to work. And as long as you willing, then everything is guaranteed for you, because the inevitability of your success is guaranteed as long as you're willing. As long as you're willing to get it done. Because you can't be defeated unless you feel defeated. Fighters go through it all the time. You see these fighters on these win streaks. They're on a 12 win streak. And then they run into somebody who ends that streak. They don't sit over here and go, I'm done with fighting because I lost one time. They go, all right, somebody was stronger than me and they got the best of me. I'm just going to only go and get better. So that way I can start my streak again and nobody will ever take it from me again. And that's all it takes. That's all mindset. That's all mindset and the ability that you have to want more, to be more, and to do more. And that's all you need. It starts with the thought. It starts with the perspective. And if you don't allow your perspective to shift, to change, to evolve, then nothing else will come from it, because you're not open to the fact that some more can come from it. You're just going to leave yourself stuck in that same pattern of the repetitiveness of it not working because you're not working. If you're not working, then it ain't going to work for sure. If you're not putting in no effort, then it's not going to lift. If you're not pushing, it won't move. So don't be a person that just goes, oh, well, I tried it one time. Then try again. Keep doing it. Keep going. Don't allow yourself to stop because of the fact that you couldn't get it one time. That's what people do. People let one, it's not even a couple of them. People let one moment stop them from being great. I do acrobatics and gymnastics and whatnot, and I've met plenty of people who say they know how to do a backflip. But they done a backflip one time, they fell on their head wrong, they hurt their arm or something, and they never did a backflip again. Now you're just someone who just doesn't do backflips, even though you have these immense skills. You have all of this talent. But you let one moment stop you from continuing on that greatness because it just didn't work. Look, this ain't for just, inspirational thought. It's not for comfort. It's for the realization of knowing that if you're not putting in your efforts for it, then it won't come to you. If you don't do it for yourself, then you will do it for someone else. If you don't apply your own strengths, your own knowledge, your own power, then you are just wasting it. And we all have the ability to get better. At any given day, you can change because you can work to change. If you know David Goggins, then you know that if you just apply yourself, you can get it done. David Goggins, what did he say he was? He was 280 pounds, I think. 280 pounds. And he went to apply to be a Navy SEAL. And they said, you're fat and you will never be a Navy SEAL. He went to work. And now look at him. He's one of the most inspirational guys that you can see. And it's not due to the fact of him just wishing to be a Navy SEAL, him wishing to be better. It's him putting in that effort and that work to becoming better. You're no different. You're no different than any one of these giants. You just have to be willing to grow, to become better. That's all it is. That's all you gotta do. Don't stress it. Don't feel pressured by it. If you ain't getting it today and you ain't get it tomorrow, you ain't get it the next day, then keep going until you do. It's all up to you. And if you don't allow yourself to stop, then you never will. Anything in motion stays in motion unless it's interrupted by an external force. Don't let those external forces stop you from doing what you need to do. Don't allow yourself to make the excuses that you can't do it. If you want to go and build your cardio and you gotta run and it's raining, run in that rain. Don't stop yourself from going, oh, it's raining, it's storming outside, so I can't do it. I can't run. Oh, I may slip. No. Because if you let a little rain stop you, then you're going to let anything stop you. You're going to allow everything to stop you. You won't do anything because you and stop being a little bitch. Get your ass up and get to work. You better stop playing with this shit because the longer you play with it, the longer you delay your success. And the longer you delay your success, the less time you're going to have to enjoy it. So get to work. Get your shit done. So that way you can get to where you want to go. So that way you can support the people that you want to support. That way you can do the things that you want to do. Because if you allow yourself to keep going, the inevitability of your success is guaranteed. Because you won't stop. Get going. Playing around with the bullshit, man. You better stop. You better get your shit. Like, nobody's gonna do it for you. People don't care. People don't give a I gotta give me a bleeper. Like, people don't care. And they won't care because you don't care enough. You have to be willing. You have to do it. It starts with you. You came here. And now you're here. And now you do what you do to get to where you want to go. You can see it in everyday people. You can see the people who want it for real. There's people who talk about what they want, and there's people who do what they want. Which one do you want to be? Do you want to be somebody who always talks about what you want to do? Or do you want to be someone who does what they can do to do what you want to do? Because it's all just a decision. You only just make the decision to become better. You can always be better. Do you know why? Do you know why you can be better? Because you can always get better. I'm someone who was never like, I learned in school on typing, like, you got the I don't even know the keyboard, but you got the A, D, C, E, and then you got the F, G's, and then you're able to able to type. You can use your thumbs for the space bar. And I never was one to just like be coordinated enough to type fast. You're not about to catch me typing, you're not even about to catch me typing 4 words per minute. But through that, I've been aware that, all right, I'm not the fastest typer, but that doesn't mean that I need to follow this system. Maybe I just need to follow another system. Now you'll see me typing and I'll be like, I'm not still the fastest person, but I'm faster than what I've always been. I won't allow myself to stop because of the fact that I just can't type fast. No, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to push it because I don't need to learn how to type fast. I don't need to know how to type fast. But hey, let me get it done faster. Let me do it more efficiently. I'm not in the business of just always accomplishing something. I'm in the business of becoming more efficient in something. And efficiency compounded over time is going to create that success on its own. You will get stronger. You can get better. You can get smarter. But you got to pick up that book. You got to pick up that weight. You got to shift that perspective, baby. And that's what we here for. That's what we do. Es lo que hacemos, eso es lo que soy. Es una gran vida, solo mejora, es solo el comienzo, hermano. Amigas, chicas. Because if you allow yourself to do it, then you can get her done. You just have to be willing. You just gotta do it. So, with all that being said, what are you going to do that in terms creates the inevitability of your success? What are you going to do every day? What are you going to push yourself to do on a regular basis? Yeah, it's early. You got to go to work and you tired. I thought you wanted to be able to get them push-ups done. I thought you wanted to get stronger. Oh, it's the end of the day. You just want to relax. You want to go to sleep. I thought you wanted to get smarter. You got that book over there. Why you ain't reading? Why you not studying? You on your phone right now. You on your phone at this very moment. Why you not looking up? Why you not looking up how to get it done? If you're not taking advantage of AI, ChatGPT, or any other AI platforms, then you may want to reconsider, because there is infinite amounts of information right here. And all you have to be willing to do is just pick it up and go, how can I get better? If what you search doesn't help, then you think about how you can get better, because you already know the answer. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing in your everyday life that's stopping you from your everyday success. You know exactly what it is. And the one thing that I know you're doing is that you're blaming an external force on why it's not being done. You better stop playing. You better stop playing like you can't be better. There's a difference between saying you want to be better and actually becoming better. 2 different things. Which one are you going to decide to do? It's all up to you, baby. With that being said, do enjoy the rest of your lovely Saturday. I'm doing my best to go live every Saturday at noon, so that way you can hear your boy talk about what we gonna do to become better. Because at the end of the day, we only get better. Why? Because it only gets better. How's that? Because we only get better. So, with that being said, I will see you all next Saturday, 12 o'clock, to do what we do best to get to where we going. Sorry, I was thinking about the schedule. Yeah, next Saturday at 12. And that's what I say. Like, I want to be more consistent, so that way I can talk to more of the lovely people who are just thinking about the ways of how it can be done. I want to be more like that.
I'm blessed. Verdaderamente bendecido. Like, this channel is growing every day, and it's not growing because of me. I'm not making it grow. Like, I mean, yeah, I post some shorts, I post some videos, I go live, but I'm not doing that. It's you all doing it. You all are helping me grow this channel, not because of the fact that we're just wishing to be better because we just want to be better. No, because we do this every day to become better. We do the things on a regular basis to get to the point of being better. And that's all it takes. That's all you got to do. So with that being said, as long as you're willing to just do it and 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 keep doing it, the inevitability of your success is guaranteed. I tell you what. So, peace. Only gets better from here because we only get better. Holla at your boy. Nosotros arriba.